Ever get that itch? You know, that one to just hit the open road, windows down, music cranked up, adventure around every bend.
Oh, yeah. I know that feeling.
That's what today's deep dive is all about. We're taking a coffee with Jim's road trip. But no need to worry about bathroom breaks this time.
What I find really interesting about this podcast is how it really, nails that classic Americana vibe.
Mm.
It's not just about the actual routes, but the history. The diners,
Yeah.
like those roadside attractions you just don't see anywhere else.
Right, you stumble on them and it's like stepping back in time.
Yeah, exactly.
So luckily for this deep dive, we've got a ton of Coffee with Jim intel right here, show notes. We even dug into Jim's website.
Yeah, should be interesting to see what makes this podcast tick.
It's like we're going behind the scenes of a road trip.
I like that.
So if anyone's new to the ride here, Coffee with Jim, it's a live stream every Sunday, 7:00 a.m. Arizona time. Gotta get that coffee in.
Bright and early.
And you can catch it pretty much anywhere you get your podcasts. So no excuses for not tuning in.
And this is where I think Jim's background is really, really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
This is a guy who's written over 20 books. He literally wrote the book on Route 66.
Wow.
The Route 66 Encyclopedia is what it's called.
Okay, well, then he's got the cred.
Yeah. So when he's talking about these places, you know that he's lived and breathed them.
Exactly. It's not just surface stuff. You
Right.
know, this is like deep dive level.
He's the real deal.
Yeah. He's a traveler, author, storyteller, all wrapped up in one. And you can just tell his real passion is sharing these sort of hidden gems with anyone who will listen.
Yeah, for sure.
And that really comes through, I think, in the guests that he has on the show.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you're pulling up a chair at a Route 66 diner. But instead of coffee refills, you're getting stories from these people with such different perspectives and backgrounds.
Yeah, and they all have such unique experiences to share. I remember that episode with Wade Bray.
Oh, yeah, Wade Bray.
Talking about organizing the AAA Route 66 Road Fest in Tulsa.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You could practically hear those vintage cars and, smell the festival food through the speakers.
It was so vivid, and it wasn't just about, the big picture stuff either. Like when Pamela Mitchell was on talking about her work preserving Route 66 history in Kansas, I think it was.
Yeah, Kansas.
It was like those local heroes, those passionate people who are really keeping the history alive. What I thought was really interesting, too, is that it's not just American voices on the show.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a global thing, this whole, road trip thing.
Right, like Dries Bessels being on from the Dutch Route 66 Association.
Yeah. I mean, that just goes to show you, right?
Yeah.
That this whole love for the open road, it's universal.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. It's not just an American thing.
It's kind of a shared language in a way. Speaking of which, did you catch who some of the sponsors of the show are?
Oh, you mean the
Yeah.
real-type motels and stuff?
Yeah, like the motels, the attractions.
Yeah, it's like they're all curated to fit the vibe so well.
It's really wild. It's like they're pulled straight out of the show.
Like you've got the Wagon Wheel Motel.
Oh, yeah, in Missouri?
Yeah, with those little stone cottages.
So cute.
You always see those in pictures.
See, it's so funny you say that because I was just thinking, listening to you talk about these places, that it's like you can almost smell the pine cleaner
Oh, yeah.
and hear the neon signs buzzing. It makes me want to dig out my old road trip playlist.
Well, absolutely. There's something so evocative about those places.
I know. They're not just a place to sleep. It's like you said, they're portals to another era.
And Coffee with Jim really captures that feeling. Like that longing for something, I don't know, simpler.
A simpler time, for sure. And you know what's even cooler? For anyone listening who's really feeling that pull to hit the road,
Yeah.
Jim's actually going to be live at the Route 66 Miles of Possibility Conference. It's in Edwardsville, Illinois,
Oh, wow.
in November 2nd, 2024.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ah.
I love that he's out there.
Right.
Not just talking the talk, but walking the walk.
It shows a real commitment, I think.
Yeah. To this community that he's built. And speaking of community, if you checked out his website,
I have, yeah.
it's amazing. It's like this treasure trove of road trip inspiration.
Wow.
Articles, photos.
It's like having your own personal travel guide curated by the ultimate Route 66 expert.
It's amazing.
It's like having your own personal travel guide curated by the ultimate Route 66 expert.
It really is something.
So after diving into all things Coffee with Jim, we gotta know.
Yeah. What's the dream?
If you could hit the road tomorrow, where would you go?
Oh, man. That's a tough one. Let me think.
And maybe more importantly, who would you bring along for the ride?
Oh, see, now that I know the answer to, That's easy. My dog.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, he loves car rides. And I think he'd really get a kick out of all the roadside attractions.
He'd be the ultimate road trip buddy.
Oh, for sure. Always up for an adventure.
Yeah.
Never
Yeah.
complains about the music.
Those are the best.
Exactly. Plus, I could share all my snacks with him. He wouldn't even ask.
That's a good deal.
Right.
So next time you're feeling that urge for adventure, just remember that the open road is calling.
It's always calling.
And maybe, just maybe, Jim Hinckley and Coffee with Jim will be the perfect companion for the journey.
Couldn't hurt, right?
Not at all.